This is MTG Burgeoning, and in this video we are going to update and upgrade our Giada Font of Hope Angel Tribal EDH deck. Thank you for joining us for another installment of the Up and Up series. Today we're updating and upgrading Giada Font of Hope. Angel enthusiasts, be aware, we are not including any angels to the 99 of this video, and we are taking 2 angels out. So spare me in the comment section below. Speaking of below, down in the description below, you'll find links to this build's deck tech, this build's up-to-the-moment deck list, as well as this build's video primer series. We've got 4 cards going in. That means 4 cards are coming out, and we're going to kick things off with... yes, Trouble in Pairs. Here we have an enchantment for 2 and 2 white mana. If an opponent would begin an extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. I'm getting tired of these time stretch expropriate decks that are floating around all over my metagame. It's time to take our turn right back. In addition, whenever an opponent attacks us with 2 or more creatures, draws their second card each turn, or casts their second spell each turn, we draw a card. We're all about the card drawing here, because you know that opponents are going to be drawing as many cards as they can. It's not easy. It's not difficult to draw 2 cards during a turn. Well, we're going to be drawing some cards too, as long as they keep up with that. And if they're going to send 2 or more creatures into combat, if they're planning to attack us, guess what? Card goes into our hand. You know they're going to cast more than 1 spell each turn. We are going to have so many cards in our hand, we're going to be so flush with resources in the hand that our opponents are never going to see what's going to end up happening, because, to be honest, we're going to crush them into existence. We're going to crush them out of existence before they know what to do. Trouble in Pairs is going to be a really strong workhorse in this Angel deck. With that enchantment going into play, with that enchantment going into the 99, see, I already want it to go into play. I'm already thinking about what it could do. So with Trouble in Pairs going into the 99, the card that it's going to replace, hang in there, guys. Come on, let me explain first. The card going in... the card coming out is Emeria Angel. Here we have an Angel 3/3 flying for the same mana value as Trouble in Pairs. It's only a 3/3. It does have a landfall ability, and whenever a land comes into play under our control, we may create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. We're not a landfall deck. We don't have any. I'm pretty sure we have no Fable Passages, no Evolving Wilds, no Terramorphic Expanse. It's just straight play your lands. There might be an effect here or there, an ability here or there that allows us to put a land from our hand into play or from our library into play, but by no means is this build set up to maximize the benefit of creating these 1/1 white bird creature tokens. We don't even have Anointed Procession in this deck. This is not a token deck per se, even though we have the ability to create quite a number of angel tokens. You tell me, in a vacuum, for 4 mana, are you considering Emeria Angel, or are you considering Trouble in Pairs? I am considering Trouble in Pairs. I think that's going to help us more with the card advantage versus the 1 bird we might get each round of turns. That's really what it's going to come down to. Do you want a 3/3 that flies for 4 mana that generates at best 1 bird every turn? Or do you want to invest that 4 mana on maybe drawing 2 to 5 cards every round of turns? Trouble in Pairs is going over on Emeria Angel, and I don't feel bad about it. I like Emeria Angel. I always have. Way back from original Zendikar block. I've been a fan of hers for a long time, but I don't even feel bad about making this swap, because Trouble in Pairs is just too good at what it's going to do for the same amount of mana, and that's just the way it is. Card number 2 going into the 99. Here we go, baby. It is Pearl Medallion. This is just going to straight up help all of our white spells for 2 generic mana. This artifact lets us cast our white spells for 1 generic mana less. Yay, because I tell you, just like in real life, angels are not cheap. You are paying a pretty penny if you're with an angel, and out there in the MTG BC, you know what I'm talking about. Now, with Pearl Medallion going into the deck, something similar is coming out, and once more, Angel enthusiasts, allow me the opportunity to explain my thought process before you light me up in the comment section. Pearl Medallion in, Herald of War out. Here we have another angel with a 3/3 body. This one is 3 and 2 white mana versus the 2 and 2 white mana of Emeria Angel. It flies, and whenever it attacks, we put a +1/+1 counter on it. Angel spells and human spells we cast cost 1 less to cast for each +1/+1 counter on Herald of War. Is this a +1/+1 counter deck? No. Do we have some +1/+1 counter synergies? Yes, we do. But by no means similar to the token creation by Emeria Angel. By no means would I say that Herald of War helps to supplement or complement a +1/+1 counter theory in this build. Not theory, a +1/+1 counter package? Sub-package? Whatever. Maybe theory is good. So similar to Emeria Angel, Herald War is going to yield to something that's going to help the overall deck more, and that's going to be the Pearl Medallion. Because Herald of War, first we have to put it into play by investing 5 mana. Then we have to wait a round of turns hoping that it comes back to us without it getting wiped off the face of the earth, off the face of the battlefield. Then we actually have to attack with it. It gets a counter, moves to 4/4. Then we can cast any angel or human spells for 1 generic mana less. That's a big mana investment and a lot of waiting. And again, this is not a +1/+1 counter build. I think Pearl Medallion coming down with just 2 mana and letting all of our white spells be reduced by just the 1 generic mana versus having to send Herald of War into combat over and over and over again to try to get as many +1/+1 counters on it as possible. Overall, just like we lined up Emeria Angel versus Trouble in Pairs, Pearl Medallion is gonna trump Herald of War. And again, I've been a big Herald of War fan all the way back. I think Avacyn Restored, the Avacyn Restored block, that was original Innistrad and Dark Ascension. I get it, I understand. But here in this build, outside of a +1/+1 counter sub-theme, that's the word I was looking for, theme, Pearl Medallion is going to do more for us. We're not hurting for angels, and honestly, 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer, that's not cutting it. It's just not doing it, folks. All right, there it is. Pearl Medallion in, Herald of War out. And I apologize to my angel enthusiasts out there. I get it. I hear what you're saying. But you got to separate your love from the angels and look at it from this point of view. Let's make the deck the best it can be. And if we have to sacrifice an angel or two to do so, it's going to be a tough go. I promise you, we're not done adding angels to the 99 of this Giada deck. We're just not going to do that in this video. Card number 3 going in, the next new card, it is Smuggler's Share. You want to talk about trying to get some more resources on our side of the battlefield? Smuggler's Share is going to line up with Trouble in Pairs very, very well. This enchantment for 2 and 1 white mana says, at the beginning of each end step, we draw a card for each opponent who drew 2 or more cards this turn. We create a treasure token for each opponent who had 2 or more lands under the battlefield under their control this turn as well. So, we're going to be drawing cards. We're going to be creating treasures because you know our opponents are going to be doing this. And also note, because you know our opponents are going to be drawing those cards and they're going to be putting those lands into play. Also note that this is at the beginning of each end step, not just our opponents or our end step. This is at the end step of every single turn. We should be able to draw some cards and create some treasure tokens. Smuggler's Share is going to do a lot of work in this deck, similar to Trouble in Pairs. With that enchantment going into the 99, the card coming out, it's Endless Atlas. Here we had an artifact for 2 generic mana and 2 generic mana to activate it. We tap it to draw a card, and we can activate this ability only if we control 3 or more lands with the same name. In a monocolor build like this, that's not going to be a problem because I think we have like 30 some odd or around 30 snow-covered plains. So we were never unable to activate this. It's just we're paying 2 to do it each time, Let's have our opponents, let's have what they're doing get us to draw the cards, like Trouble in Pairs and Smuggler's Share. Endless Atlas, good card, solid card, but look at all of what white is getting to draw cards these days. It's making a card like this look less and less powerful because of what we're getting over there with those 2 enchantments. So Endless Atlas is out, making its way for Smuggler's Share. Yeah, the Smuggler's Share is a little bit higher in initial mana cost, but keep in mind that we don't have to pay to activate it like we would for Endless Atlas. We're going to get more than our money worth. We're going to get more than our money back for that enchantment. And I think you'll agree with me in the comments section below. All right, MTGBC, we're down to the last card going in, which means we only got one more card coming out. The next card going into our Giada deck, it is Throne of Eldraine. I'll tell you, if you have a monocolored deck, this card is going to be bonkers. The only problem is this card is not a cheap card. If you're lucky to pull one in a pack, yay me. That's the only reason why I'm able to put this card into this Giada deck today. If I had a copy of this card, if I had multiple copies of this card, I would put that in every monocolor EDH deck I own. But alas, we're not at that point. Here we have Throne of Eldraine. It's a legendary artifact, 5 generic mana to cast. When it enters the battlefield, we're going to choose a color. That color, of course, is going to be white. We can tap this to add 4 mana of the chosen color. We're adding 4 white mana by turning this bad boy sideways, and that's after the initial investment of 5 generic mana. Note, this does not come into play tapped. It does not come into play tapped. So if we can spend this mana, which we can only use to cast monocolor spells of that color, so if we can use that 4 white mana to cast a mono white spell in a mono white deck, then on the first turn that we play this, this is really only costing us 1 mana. 5 generic mana, but we're getting 4 of it back in all white mana that we use to cast a mono white spell. This is only costing us 1 mana. Unbelievable. But we're not done yet. If that were the only ability on this card, it's still a must include. But then we can pay 3 mana, tap it to draw 2 cards. We can only spend mana of the chosen color to activate this ability, but we have a deck filled with nothing but, I shouldn't say nothing, but we have a deck filled with white mana abilities with all of our lands. We should never have a trouble. We should never have a problem activating this ability. Throne of Eldraine is going to get us over the top. The mana that it produces, the mana acceleration of knowing that even if we tap 5, we're getting 4 of it back as long as we have white spells to cast, and then we can draw the 2 cards by tapping 3. That's better than this. We're only tapping 2 to draw 1. That's 2 for 1. This is 1.5 mana for each card. Yeah, it's going to cost us 3 white mana to do it, but that's not going to be a problem. Throne of Eldraine is going to just make this deck hum, even if it wasn't humming enough by itself. With this legendary artifact going in, it's going to take the place of Well of Lost Dreams. For 4 mana, whenever we gain life, we may pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life we gained, and if we do, we draw X cards. Yes, we do have a life gain sub-theme woven into this Giada build, but with all of the card drawing that we're including today, 3 out of the 4 cards providing massive card draw, if we're not gaining that life, then Well of Lost Dreams is a lost dream. It's sitting on the battlefield waiting to be activated. This is not a life gain deck. Yes, we have threads of life gain in it, similar to the +1/+1 counters of Herald of War, but by no means is this a life gain deck. So Well of Lost Dreams could be sitting on our side of the battlefield not getting activated, where cards like Throne of Eldraine, Smuggler's Share, and Trouble in Pairs should be getting activated every round of turns multiple times. It just makes too much sense to take out Well of Lost Dreams for Throne of Eldraine, and you can tell me if that's the right choice in the comment section below. All right, there you have it, MTGBC. 4 new cards going in, 4 cards coming out, including 2 Beloved Angels. I want to hear what you think about those changes in the comment section below. This is MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things Magic.